What is the biggest difference you feel from coming from the car industry into the finance industry and mortgage specifically?
I mean, really, the only difference is
Yeah, so this is called, what have you called this show again? Do you know what it's called?
word on the street is it's called Just the Tip.
Just the Tip Tuesday. I am Greg Martell, and this is Christopher, also known as Connor McDavid, first pick overall, lottery draft right here.
Where did that come from?
Chaparral Mortgage. What did?
The
Lottery draft?
Yeah.
Just because when the highest, like bringing you in, took months to bring this guy in, by the way, to be one of our employees. And since he's been here, I knew he was going to be an absolute ace in the hole and a first rounder. And then after the first week or two, it's just like, Jesus, this guy is not a first rounder. He's a first pick, and it's a lottery first pick.
I appreciate
So
that.
it's off the charts. That's why Garrick's not here anymore, because we replaced Garrick with the best. So no more Garrick for the rest of your life. You'll never see him again. Just kidding. He'll be here back next week. He's in Dallas. But regardless, Chris is here. And the reason why I brought Chris on the show is because he's never worked in the mortgage industry. And our highest success from all of our employees have been people that have zero experience in the actual mortgage side of it, but more experience in service and transparency. So why I brought him on the show is I can't speak, got lazy mouth. Is just to ask a few questions about like what it's been like to come from a complete different industry to this industry, and then how what are your feelings about what we're doing as a new company and trying to be disruptive in the mortgage industry when it comes to creating something directly for the user, where they can use a website or a platform to do all the work for them and bring all the rates and products to them without being solicited, which is the most important part, is your information isn't being sold to different companies and different brokers, different banks. So the main thing is as you first started here, what was before you had worked even a day, what did you think it was going to be like coming to this company in this industry?
Well, I knew it was going to be exciting. I had no idea about anything in the mortgage industry. This was like my first, shot in that. But I mean, it's sales, just like anything else in life. So I figured it's going to be a lot of, phone calls, following up. Like you said, it's the service industry, like anything else. So it's really just taking care of the customer. It's really just a matter of listening and, seeing what they're trying to accomplish and,
Yep.
Just taking care of that for them.
Well, you mentioned sales, and in sales, there's always the part of the transaction when people say they like to be in sales or they don't like to be in sales. No matter where you work, there's going to be a sale in that industry or that business that keeps you working. And Chris comes from a sales background, but we actually don't sell anything. It was funny. The first thing he said was sales, but it's more the follow up and service that you need to have a level to basically like take your client, find out what their expectations are, and not meet them but blow them away. That's what we're about. Is you get raving fans as clients if you can blow them away, but if you have just expectation as your goal, you're gonna be just like everybody else. So when you came in, you thought it was more of a sales position and like we're selling something, charging fees maybe, right?
No, it wasn't anything like that. When I say sales, I mean, I use it loosely. Like you said, you kind of apply it to anything. When someone says, I don't like sales or I can never do that, they're not recognizing where they use sales in their daily life.
But what I mean is like before you started though, like when you arrived,
I had no idea about anything.
yeah.
So it was kind of a learning experience. It was super exciting, just, getting the hang of things. But once you start speaking to people, you see, where we do things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
One of the sayings that there is in the sales industry is, people will buy something that they don't even need at all from someone they like before they get something that they need from someone they don't like.
Yeah.
So it's something that you can, kind of apply to this as well. When you're on the phone with someone, you need to make sure you take a good or do a good job in listening to them and taking care of their needs, and they'll always go with you.
Yeah.
And that's something that you see when they're like, oh, well, I'm working with this company and they're not taking care of me in this aspect. You just have to blow them away in that way.
Yeah. And I find like in the past when we've hired experienced mortgage people in this particular company, they've been great people, but it's been very difficult for them to adapt to the new way of where the mortgage industry is going, more of a digital kind of era. That's about to start. And being, not that we're breaking past, but like we're trying to create stuff in our company that is super cool for the user, not the banks, not the lenders, not the brokers, literally just for the user. Something that makes it actually like an enjoyable, convenient experience where this is all the documents you need. We'll deal with all that for you, and then then our technology will serve you according to your application that we verified already up front with all the information that we got. You'll only get products and you'll only get rates according to your verified app, with no one soliciting you, no one calling you nonstop. And then you act at that point. No one sees your personal information. And then when you want to move, you have the best options in front of you. Our service is free, and you can move forward with whatever's best for your particular needs at that point. And we have licensed mortgage experts here to give you advice as well. So when Chris joined, the first week or two, he's kind of getting things going. And then from there, how's it been? Like, what is the biggest difference you feel from coming from the car industry into the finance industry and mortgage specifically?
I mean, really, the only difference is what you're selling in a sense, but other than that, it's really just a matter of listening to their needs and taking care of them in the best way that you can. And, that's one of the most exciting things is, people are a little off-put when you first reach out to them because, we're reaching out to them from like LendingTree and Realtor.com and places like that. And they're a little bit skeptical at first, but once you take the time to break everything down, they get excited as well because they're like, well, I don't have to, it's not a hassle for me. You kind of do all the legwork for me, and they get excited about it, you know, because they're used to the old way where you have to, call or submit an inquiry to multiple different lenders and you have to do all the legwork yourself. You're answering the same questions multiple times, sending the same documents, and now it's just, you do it all in one place.
Yeah, it's like I always keep saying, a mortgage valet or a mortgage butler, where we want to serve you and provide all that headache with our services and take care of all that for you. And then in the end, you get all the best products and advice without having a bias of a broker trying to make commission on your transaction or bank. You decide what's best for you. We could give you advice as well from our licensed agents and then move forward from there. And the best of all, it's free. So when we brought Chris on, we knew he would be good, and since he's been here, we have great people right now, and he's literally hit the ground running, like back into your driveway and going to reverse and then to first gear. He went like from back into your driveway right into fifth gear. So it was great to see, and the work ethic is literally, he's taken the level that we have with our crew and matched it, if not raised. I think it's great when you have an environment where it's competitive, where you're kind of lifting each other and being competitive. It makes everybody else better in the room, and he certainly has done that, and he's also made it very clear of the performers and producers or people that want to succeed and people that don't. It's really made it clear for them as well, moving within our internal ecosystem. But one of the things why I wanted to bring you on the show is basically to just ask you, as not knowing a mortgage, you never had a mortgage in your life, not knowing the industry very well or at all. And then learning about what we do, and then learning about the industry. What was your biggest takeaway right now of what we do? And please, I don't want you to answer because I know obviously you're a chaperone, you work with us, but just be honest, because I want to know, even if it's not us or if it's other things out there that are better, we want to be honest with that. And we're going to always try to get better with our products and our technology. But what do you think that we can do better as a company? And I want to what is the good things, and then what are the things that we can work on, right? So what is your takeaway of the positive? What is your, wow, this is pretty cool that we do this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's awesome that we have the mobile application that lets people upload, documents, and it's a simple thing. I mean, you can really just scan it and email it, but it's a little bit more convenient where you go up to your document, you take a picture, and it comes right to us. They don't, the only thing they really have to do out of their way is download the application, but that's going to change as well. Eventually it's going to be online as well. So you just go on a website, you log in, and we get all your information and take care of it from there.
Yeah, so they download the mobile app, right? Yeah, so eventually it'll be a progressive web app where it'll just be all on your phone, just like it is on your desktop. But yeah, so that's the good thing, is the convenience of being able to get push notifications reminding the consumer that there's documents still outstanding on through a text message or a push notification on your phone, letting you know what stage you are in the process, so you're always being touched either by a human or by technology. We also have live agent you can talk to on our website at any point, at any time. So if you have questions that you don't want to call and talk to somebody, or you don't want to like have to email someone, or you can just literally jump on our website and talk to anybody who's licensed and give you advice that way as well, or answer questions you have along the way. Those are the key points for sure on our end. And obviously, document exchange. So the mobile app, you can upload, you can take pictures of your documents, and then it scans it over to us directly instead of going to a scanner or your desktop. Another step for convenience. And we also do a soft pull credit, so we can look at your credit before we actually pull your credit, where it may affect it. And so if you don't have a chance at all to get a mortgage, we don't want to go through the whole process with your credit or with other things. So we have a soft pull system that gives you it's kind of like a teaser, okay, well, this person has this credit score roughly, and this is his income or his or her income, and this is they'll be approved around this much. And then if that suits, then we take the next step and kind of crystallize it a little bit more. What are the things you think our company can do different that would improve our service or our product moving forward?
I think just explaining it better to people, because they're everyone's skeptical at first, but they're also a little bit confused because they're just not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of a new way of going about it.
Give me an example of someone on the phone that you've had that you've explained to them and they still didn't understand.
So when we say we don't charge any origination fees, processing fees, lender fees, things like that, they're like, well, everyone else says that as well, and that may be true, but what they do differently is they'll just end up rolling it into your loan in a way where you don't really recognize it.
So explain that to me. So when you say rolling into the loan, are they adding it? So if they're getting a quote through Shop Your Own, and just say that quote is, this is not a rate, by the way, I'm just making it up. Just say it's 5%, and that 5% interest rate had no fees and no what else you got? Would you guys there's no fees and no
processing fees, origination fees,
origination
like
fees. And then the other lender said, no, we do the same thing. We don't charge as well, but their rate would be maybe $525 or $550, correct? Or the loan amount might be higher in as far as of overall fee in the loan that's capitalized in the mortgage instead of coming out of their pocket, correct? Okay, yeah. So I think that's big too. And what else do you think we could do to be better at what we do, or better, maybe more transparent? I thought of something while you were saying that we've talked about before in the past, but I'll wait for it after.
Probably just explaining the mobile application better, maybe using it more often, because we still, we're a mortgage technology company, but we still kind of go back to the basics in a sense a lot of times, where we do have them email them and so forth. So we can definitely implement it a lot more.
Do you think that's us that does that, or do you think more it's the behavioral pattern of the user right now, and it's kind of they're moving through a stage of life where they're just used to having it scanned or emailed, and using a mobile app is it's just new for them, and maybe a lack of trust or security potentially. I always think of 5 years ago what it was like to have direct messaging for money. Oh, you just paid for dinner. Oh, thank you. I'll what's my half? $40. I'll send to you right now through Zelle. That didn't exist 5 years. No one would even do that 5 years ago. And then online banking was suspect when it first came out. And then text messages 10 years ago, no one did that, right? And everybody's doing that now. So we know the behavioral pattern is slowly changing, but I think there is a lot of the comfort zone of people right now is to talk to people on the phone still. But if we can digitalize that process where they don't have to waste the time, I don't say waste, but take time out of their day. Everybody's busy to talk to somebody and then get documents, and we can eliminate that whole thing and maybe have videos along the way explaining them with diagrams and examples in the technology. That could be a really good idea too for us.
Yeah, I think it's a little of both, but probably more so the skepticism. Like you said, 5-10 years ago when that technology wasn't around, people were skeptical. So I think it's the same thing in this case, and it's just a matter of getting people exposed to that and getting used to it.
We've had people, two things. One big benefit was the positive story, and a not so positive story was we had a client come to us and say, I got a mortgage approved with Quicken Loans, and this is my mortgage amount, and this is how much I'm paying in fees. And we said, well, we can take that and your interest rate. We can take that interest rate and give you a much lower one with this and no fees. And the total amount of savings was over $14,000. And that client went back to Quicken explain what we offered them, showed our offer, and then Quicken matched our offer, and you saved 14 grand. And that's why we have Shop Your Own Mortgage. Not because you didn't use us. Sure, it would have been great if you used us, but it's about making sure that our clients are getting the better deal. They don't have to use us. Just use the platform to make sure you are getting a better deal. Because you're not gonna know. This is like a platform that's gonna give you all the information, and you'll see if you're getting a good deal. You can take your rate and put it in the system, and it'll tell you what the best market rate is gonna be for your application. That doesn't exist out there. The negative to that is with the exact same situation happen where they didn't match it. So we had someone come up to us and say, "This is what I got." We got them approval. This is what we can offer you, and they were gonna save $8,000 and change, and they went back to their lender, and the lender's like, no. And then, well, we can use us, and it'll be done. The person didn't want to use us because they felt like that savings was just didn't make sense, and it was almost discrediting to us how much money we were saving her at the time. And it was a male and female, and husband and wife, and they're like, they didn't go with us because it was too uncomfortable for them to save that much money not knowing who we were. And that one blew my mind, and that happens a lot more often with our guys and our girls here than it's just shocking when people just have it. Now, this day and age, being around for a bit, we're getting less and less of that, but it's still out there. Like the credibility, we're not Quicken, where we're on every commercial and sponsor every sporting event with Rocket Mortgage, or we're not Loan Depot. We're technology driven, and we're a smaller crew, but we're meant and built for the user to save money. And we can take on a lot, but we just don't have the ability to market it that way right yet. And that's where you lose. And people are like, well, I'm going to save so much money with you and not them. Like it makes them feel uncomfortable, and they'd rather just pay more where they know there's a better brand recognition on the other end of it. So that's my biggest shocker, right? So I know what we can do in the future is improve the communication of what we do, how we can explain what we do better, faster, like podcasts as well, and to be able to have videos and stuff along the way, and maybe more face-to-face marketing in our market to have that brand recognition across the board. But other than that, anything you want to add of like how it's been since you've been here, or like kind of like your biggest most exciting part about being at the company, and maybe I would say most exciting part, like what you think has been the best kind of like transition for you. Just to give an idea, Chris came from Vegas, and we tried to get him here for months and months to come work for us, and he's very certainty driven. Like he wants the same thing all the time, and he loves the structure, and for him to leave his environment, his city, his family, to come all the way out here is a big move for him, or anyone, but more for him because of how he's driven. And to see him get out of his comfort zone, which is tough to do, and then excel and get better and better every day, and grow as a person, is been amazing to watch. And we're proud to have you on our team. And every day I look at the numbers and I look at it, it's astonishing how proud I am having you on board and moving forward where we want to go with you, and Garrick as well. Garrick's a superhero as well with our company, and we have a couple other ones as well that have been fantastic too. And we just want to keep that culture going and keep having the same people. But what is your biggest, like I would say your most, besides watching the Bentley crash into a car full speed, being behind that, besides that exciting moment, what else did you have?
Like you touched on, I love the environment, and then kind of seeing, or not really seeing it, but hearing people's reactions about what we do, because they have no idea. They're not used to this way of going about, mortgages, and so it is exciting being a part of that and explaining it to them and making a difference, because it is a big deal. You're buying a house after all, so it is nice to see that difference.
Yes. One other thing fun fact about Chris, 2 facts. If he hears a car drive by the office or the house, he can name the car.
Garrick does that as well.
Garrick does it as well, but I don't want to pump Garrick's tires up.
Yeah.
The other thing too is he is a dessert expert. If you want to have a good dessert anywhere in the city of Vegas or now Orange County, just email us or ask us a question about where to go for dessert or what type of dessert you're looking for. And this guy right here, he's like, his nickname's Yelp, basically. He just loves Yelp, and we'll go to restaurants specifically on a dessert menu, not what we're having for an entree, which is just, I've never experienced this before. And every dessert he pulls out, it's probably at least going to be an 8.5 out of 10. Just give you a heads up.
I might have to make a separate podcast for that, just for the desserts.
The connoisseur of desserts. And I think that's it, guys. If you have any questions about what we were talking about, please send us an email or a question on our podcast. But moving forward, we're going to offer some Black Friday specials next week. You guys have Cyber Monday too? Is that what happens here? All right. I don't know if we should do it on Cyber Monday or Black Friday. I don't know what's going on. I think Black Friday is more of a retail thing, and then Monday. So a week Monday, we're going to offer some big discounts to our users for closing costs, and maybe some other fun little packages and awards. But if you have any questions about what we just spoke about, please feel free to ask. Other than that, Chris, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.